as fears continue to rise over a possible recession imminent in the United States, it might surprise you to hear that actually, by one metric, we haven't even fully recovered from the 2008 recession. Now, according to a new study, the construction industry is still short 350,000 workers, and that is a holdover from 2008. That is not nearly as many jobs as those that were lost back in 2008. That totaled nearly 1.5 million in the construction industry, but still a big lack of jobs in that important sector. And here now to discuss is Yahoo Finance's Adriana Belmonte. Adriana.
Hi.
So what is driving the shortage right now? And if we put it in context, I mean, how dire is the situation for the construction industry?
So they lost about 1.5 million jobs during the financial crisis, and they're still short of 350,000. So they are gaining it back, but it's still a process. And there are a number of factors holding them back right now. One of them is the fact that there's an aging workforce. So the baby boomers are aging, and there's more college-educated millennials, and they're more likely to want to take a 9-to-5 job, sit around in an office rather than work in construction, where hours aren't as consistent. It's a different kind of setting. And there's also the fact that wages, median wage for construction workers last year was around $36,000 versus, where you can get, again, in an office setting, probably a lot more.
What I found really interesting was that the fact that there's a shortage of construction workers means that when you want to remodel your home, it ends up costing you a lot more because they don't have the right skills. So in the end, you're the one who's paying for it.
Exactly. And that there was one person I was talking to, and they said probably one of the biggest economic impacts is the fact that we're still in the housing deficit. So we're seeing it in our everyday lives, even if we don't realize it. And I also just wanted to point out there's two other factors that kind of I came across in my research that I thought was really fascinating. So one of the reasons why there's still this shortage is immigration policies, because construction has one of the highest numbers of foreign-born workers. And with all that's going on right now with the administration, legal and illegal immigration, it's having an effect on the industry. It's subtle, but it's there. And there's also the opioid crisis. So I write a lot about that. I even did a piece recently about how the construction industry is one of the industries being hit the hardest. They're 6 times more likely. So there's factors on all sides of the aisle. There's so much going on right now that we don't realize is factoring into this.
Well, and that makes sense that it affects that industry in an outsized way, because if you get hurt on the job, and then you go to a doctor and then they prescribe you painkillers, I mean, that's how it happens. It's also interesting to me, we've talked about the same problem with the trucking industry right now, specifically the problem of young people, millennials, and even one generation below us not wanting to work in that sector.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they're going to fix that.
The Fed across the board has seen a tight labor market in construction, and this is a great anecdotal kind of story about that.
Yeah. And, I asked somebody, what's the solution? It was somebody from the Home Builders Association, actually, who's very familiar with this shortage. And, he said there's no silver bullet. But he did say, some of the ways that they could try to fix it is by, doing more to recruit skilled workers, high-skilled labor, and investing in, innovative technologies. But again, it's not going to be a guarantee.
All right. Thanks, Adriana.